Give them one more hand as they come up.
Hello.
Hello again, my name's Dennis Baker. I'm the business program. Thanks again for everyone coming out and for those watching. We'll start with introductions. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what you did on the film.
Hi, I'm Kuang Lee. I'm the writer-director of Buddy Solitaire.
Hi, I'm Leann. I'm the producer and I also play the mean Chinese woman, Miss Liao.
The reason we do these is to hear the process from the filmmakers, to learn their journey, all the behind the scenes, so you as actors can be encouraged to do your own work, but also hear the journey, so when you're on set for one day, you know all the work it takes to get to that day or that week or whatever. And as we all know, it takes a tribe and a village and an army to make a film happen, so there's some cast and crew in the audience we'd like to shout out, so go ahead.
Absolutely. If you worked on the film, either as cast or crew, please stand up right now. Please stand up. There's a lot of you guys. It's
Yay!
awesome. Awesome.
We have
It's amazing.
Can you introduce himself?
There's Sally Kirkland back there.
Yay! And we have Michael Clausen, our production designer. Hello.
Matt Steele back there. Played Oliver.
And Jason.
Yeah.
For
You
our
introduce him.
Jason for our
Monk. He was a monk.
monk. Yeah, monk. Hello. And Oh Yang, don't sit down, don't sit down. Oh Yang helping out on set doing the temple scene.
And of course, Brandon Sorenberger, who plays Buddy. in the middle
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. Our lead actor.
Okay, so
And Lee Chen, and we have our friends in the First AC, Elizabeth. And
back there, there's Sean Clay, who plays Bug, right there.
And Garrett play Tyson Yi.
Garrett Sato back there, Tyson Yi, the boss of the facility.
And here.
Samba Shoot, who plays Arash, the best friend. I think that's everybody.
That's all right.
Oh,
Do you miss anybody?
Well,
Do you miss
oh
anybody?
yeah. Dominique Raison, who
Dominique.
plays.
Dominic play Vanessa, Buddy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who else? Do we miss anybody? No?
I think that's everybody.
Thank you guys so much for coming out to watch and supporting us, really.
Congratulations to everyone. We're going to get started and jump in with the story, because you can't make a movie without a story and a script. So talk a little bit about how the story came to be, thoughts behind it, inspirations.
Absolutely. Well, they always say that stories and films come from a personal place, and Buddy Solitaire was certainly that for me. I think about 2010, I was going through a really rough time in my life. Things weren't going so well with my job. I had just been in a breakup, or a romantic breakup, and my cat died. Yeah, that was the hardest part, the cat dying. Yeah. So, ironically enough, the only thing that made me feel better was taking a stand-up comedy class at LA City College. It's crazy. I found out that I wasn't a very good comic, but when I landed a laugh, finally, it was a great feeling of connection, interpersonal connection that was better than any therapy could give me. And I actually did stand-up for a couple of years in LA, and I further learned I wasn't very good as a comic, but I met some fascinating people on the circuit who are dealing with some really intense personal issues on stage. They're working out those issues. And I found out that there was a very thin line between what we find funny and what we find, crazy. And you look at a guy like Robin Williams, incredibly talented, right? But he had some personal demons that he was dealing with, and I thought that would be a great inspiration for a script, and that's how Buddy Solitaire came about.
Great. Then talk a little bit about the process of how did you start writing, kind of a little bit of that experience. Did you write it quickly, or was it over a long process?
Well, it's 2016 now, right? I think I wrote the script in 2012. So it's, I think before it was ready to be shot, it took, I think 20 drafts until it was shootable. And then, Leann read a draft 12 or something. And originally I wasn't gonna try to shoot it, this is my first feature. And to her credit, she's like, yeah, this is a good movie, and we could make it. So the movie.
He said no. And I said yes. And we did it.
So talk a little bit about Leann. We were talking about in the green room too, a little bit about your process once you guys kind of had that initial conversation. What were some of your thoughts of like, how are we going to make this kind of happen?
Okay, Kuang gave me the script to read, and he valued my opinion. So then I read it, and you know, I still have an accent in my English, so I read it out aloud, like practice my English that way. And I cried and I laughed, and I said, "That's great script. I mean, there are still room to improve, but let's, make a feature film out of it." And he said, "That's gonna be too much money. I don't know, maybe not." And then I said, "Yeah, you can do independently. You can raise fund." I said, "I know some rich people might be interested in filmmaking." Rich friend, and then he said, "Really, you think we can do it?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, can you help me to produce it?" I said, "I have never produced anything, like zero." But and then he said that's something I have to give him that credit. I cannot take all credit by myself, right? So I said, and he said, "Oh, okay, you can learn though." And I said, "That's true." I said, "So let me just start." I start Googling and do all the research and find out how to do LLC. I have to say, internet is the best thing invented in the world. Really, just all the process you can find online, the information, just great. We just start from the scratch, step by step. So we started making the film. And I never thought we would make the film, and we did it, and we all did it. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out. So take us through a couple of journeys of those 20 drafts or so. What are some of the things that changed kind of in the early process? How did it mold itself into kind of the script you were like, okay, we're going to shoot this script version?
Yeah, before we decided to produce it, I didn't think about budget, right? And so there was like, Buddy goes on tour, you know, he goes to Arizona, and that had to go out the window. So once
Car chasing.
Yeah. Actually, I think there was a car chase in there. Yeah.
No.
So once we knew we were going to make it for micro budget, we were like, okay, well, there's the main facility, and then there's clubs. Actually, all the clubs that are in this movie is one location, one theater location. So there was a lot of honing the script to be shootable.
Thanks to our wonderful production designer make that happen. Like it's crazy in the low budget, and he made all one location in all three. Where are you? There.
Right there,
okay.
yeah.
With all three clubs.
So then as you were honing the script, when did you kind of get into that pre-production mindset? You said you were starting to do research, but when you kind of started getting the money behind it, when those conversations took, how long was pre-production? What are some of the big other team members? Talk about your DP, other people who were like, okay, we need some other people on board to make this happen. Talk a little bit about that process.
Want to talk about that?
Yeah. Again, like internet research, right? So I form an LLC and starting approaching to my Chinese investors. And then there are a lot of no's. Some people, they have a lot of money, but they are not interested in making, and they might not know something about that. They feel risky, so they want to spend the money on a big dinner party, maybe $30-some thousand, but to invest in the film, they will say no. So things like that. And finally, I do have two friends during the process, the entire year, so they got to know me more. So they just believe in me, and then they will say, okay, let's give it a shot, just to help you out. And they even didn't read the script, actually. I tell him, I believe in this script. I think it's going to make it. And then they said, okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Just something to note about that, you're talking about crew, and this is useful for people making their own projects. All of our key crew came from people that I had made shorts with, and Leann had worked on short films with. So it's a combination of people you work on smaller projects on, then you have that trust, right? And then you bring them onto your big project, and that's how you develop that rapport with your crew.
Before I produce Buddy Solitaire, I'm still actor. So on set, my mind is still actor's mindset, right? But now when I start producing Buddy Solitaire, so when I'm on set, I book a job, I'm just starting pay attention. Like I'm the talent scout. Oh, this crew is great. He works great. He looks reliable and talk very easygoing. And he did a great job. So I'm putting my contact, like literally put on my contact list for Buddy Solitaire. And Michael is one of them. You know, I scouted.
Scouted, stocked, you know, it's a little bit, well, half of one, 6 dozen the other. Great. Talk about how long kind of pre-production happened. You talked about a year talking with the finance people and building that trust. Was it about a year before the first day of shooting, kind of from lock script? Kind of talk a little bit about that journey and kind of get some timetables around that.
I think we had we did a Kickstarter campaign at the end of 2013, right? 14. Oh, really? 14? Okay.
My birthday. We launched the Kickstarter on my birthday.
So then there was a Kickstarter that was a 30-day Kickstarter. It was successful, and so that brought us over the edge in terms of being able to produce the movie. And so from then, the bottom of 2014 to our shoot date in mid-April, it was purely pre-production. So once we kind of had a successful Kickstarter, it was in production mode.
Great. And talk a little bit about that process with Kickstarter. What did you learn? What was successful? What would you do differently?
You want to take this one? Crowdfunding is hard.
That's a general thing.
Yeah,
yes.
It's hard. It's like a full-time job. But if you believe in your project, then you put in the time. And you know, you make it count. You know, like do your Kickstarter or Indiegogo for the one project you really believe in, because sometimes you only have one shot at it for people to believe in you. You know.
I do want to add, we didn't approach everybody on Facebook. Like we just choose people might be interested, and we feel like connected to ask for funding, like donate. So maybe we should just send master email to everybody.
What's a master email?
No. Don't laugh at my English, okay? Speak Mandarin to me.
我可以说国语啊。
German.
I can't speak German though. Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah.
We're going to have a multi-language just conversation up here. Let's talk a little bit about casting, because we do have an audience of actors here. Talk a little bit about that process. In writing, obviously you knew one actor you were going to cast already. Did you have other actors in mind? Do you write with certain visual images? Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, and this is good to know as actors. Like, I had specific images of these characters in my mind, but honestly, a lot of the people in our cast who came into audition made me think totally differently. I'll tell you a story about Sean Clay, who plays Bug back there, right? Great job, huh? He did a great job, didn't he? So in my mind, Bug, the character of Bug, was a scrawny, young dude. And Sean, as a day job, he's a personal trainer. This dude is yoked. He's a big dude. And so, you know, but the thing is, when I saw his audition, I believed it. You know, I really believed it. It was honest, and he really embodied Bug, and he made me think about the character in an entirely different way. So, you know, I think the idea of casting to this picture in your head is not always the right way to go. If someone can come in, an actor can come in, and if they're honest and if they're real, can make you think an entirely different way about the way you're thinking about the character.
And I have to give a shout out to our casting director, Paul Dean. And I posted a notice on Casting Society Association, I think that's the name, CSA website. And then he actually approached us. He wants to do it, and he believed in the script, so he decided to work with us. And he's very enthusiastic about that. And that's very important for, I think, for any independent or low-budget films. You need somebody on board. It's not for money. It's for the project, for the project, for the script, yeah.
Talk a little bit, you guys shot in Los Angeles, so talk a little bit about how many days was your production, set locations, did you have any rehearsals? Kind of give us that picture.
Yeah, we shot 17 days, and a friend of mine from college, he runs a youth center in Koreatown called the Brzee Center, and that was where we shot the mental health facility. And I think we had, I like to do a lot of rehearsals, but since we had such a tight schedule and budget, we did one read through and then one day of rehearsal, I think. One table read. But you know what's interesting is, like, looking back on it, because we didn't rehearse so much, I think there's a lot of like spontaneity in some of the performances. And I was super worried and anxious that we didn't get enough rehearsal, but you know, if you have really great actors and they embody the characters, they really can't go wrong, you know? Even if they do a weird take, it's still that character embodied by that actor. So, you know, if you cast right, you're 80% there.
You mentioned it, Leann. Talk about that process for you when you had to be on set versus the producer hats, thinking about everything you had to take care of. Did you have people to help think about the next day while you were shooting? Talk a little bit about how you manage and juggle all that.
I'm very fortunately to have a line producer, Ben Galera, and that's how to pronounce his last name, yeah. And he's helping out. He's helping out a lot. And again, I'm a very good student, so I follow whatever internet tell me to do. Like, go find the line producer. Okay,
You
I
shouldn't
find
always
the line
do that.
producer.
You shouldn't always follow what the internet tells you to do.
Good thing, yeah. So I worked with Ben for a web series, and then my scouting, I scouted him, so I approached him to work for this one, and he said yes. And yeah, so when I'm in front of the camera, he helped out a lot. Actually, let me rephrase it. He helped out a lot the entire film, yeah.
And it was an extra help when you were in front of the camera and everything.
Yes,
so you could focus
for
on
me, if I do it again, I probably will focus more on acting when I'm in front of the camera. I feel like I didn't like my performance. Luckily, we can cut around the takes. It's okay to watch myself, but still, when I see myself, I was like, ew, why do you do that?
She was very funny, though, wasn't she? Especially in the end. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't know what actor likes to watch themselves, so you're not alone in that. So talk a little bit about, we saw the final product, but there's so much that happens that we don't see to make a certain shot, or you have to rearrange a shot because you don't get a certain location in time, or you have to change things. So talk about the stories of examples of the dog stop barking for 5 seconds to get a shot, or shooting while the police kick you out type of stories. What kind of happened that we didn't see to make the shots that we did see?
We're pretty lucky. We do change the one location for Hannah's house. Originally, it's one of my friend, her house, and then later on, because she has problems, so cannot do it. So I have to find the location within one week. We already scouted the first location, so I find the one house. My friend in China, the family bought the house, but they never come to live there. They actually plan to sell the house. Realtor already put the sign up, and I asked him if we can shoot there since nobody lives there, right? It's going to be best for the filming, and he said yes. So, and which unfortunately, yeah.
I'll tell kind of a funny story. You know, this scene in the pool where Buddy and Arash are talking, and they're all really sad. He's laughing about this. We got threatened by the police, and because we didn't have a location for that.
Okay, rephrase it. Not police. My apartment manager.
Yeah.
So Buddy's apartment is my apartment. If you can tell, that's a girl's apartment, but. That's funny story about Michael, our production designer. So I was like, okay, we have no budget. You can use mine if it works, if that works to you. And when he came to take a look, he was like, that's perfect for Buddy. I was like, I'm a girl. You said it's perfect for a man. He said my funky piano works and all that works. Okay, whatever. Michael?
But the funny thing is, with her landlord said, you have 10 minutes, and you have to get the hell out of here, or we're calling the police.
No, I told them we're going to film there for like 3 hours, but obviously we took longer. Yeah. So he saw you said you're going to be out by what time?
I'm trying to make a point here.
I know.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell a story. I'm trying to tell a story.
So what ended up happening was we had 10 minutes to get the hell out of there, and there was a super somber scene, and everyone was really stressed. The whole crew was stressed. I was stressed. But from looking at the scene, Brandon and Samba were super mellow and chill. We had one take each, and you would never notice that we were struggling to get the hell out of there. Yeah.
Nailed it in one. Yeah.
Exactly. They nailed it in one.
Good job. Yeah, I'll clap that out. So let's transition a little bit into the post-production and understand that process. Did you, your editor, were they on board from beginning, or did they sign on after production ended? What was that process?
We actually hired 3 editors. We have to let the first one go, and the second one, the schedule conflict, and the third one was great. And I think that's meant to be. He's great.
Yeah, his name is Patrick Wells.
Patrick Wells.
It's Valenti now. He got married, right?
Yeah, he just got married.
He took his wife's last name. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What a man, right?
Yeah.
Great man.
We worked with a lot of interesting characters in this film. But yeah, me and Patrick, we worked on the film, on the editing very closely for weeks on end in his apartment, and we really fine-tuned the film. There are some scenes that are in the script that are not in the movie. There's some scenes that we sort of improvised during production. So it's the final film from the work that the director does with the editor is a very different thing than from the script. So that's a really interesting thing I noticed.
And talk about the process. What did you learn in that process? You're like, oh, I learned this about production and pre-production now that I'm in the editing room, that I would do the same or do differently, or kind of what was that process for you?
I think it's about tone. I think, you know, when you want to make a film, you want to like kind of fine tune what your tone is. And because it's sort of a big topic, we knew off the top that we wanted the performances to be very grounded and realistic. And I think editing is really trying to find where that tone is, and with music, with pacing, it's trying to find that feeling that you get when you watch the movie. And I think that is really constructed in the editing.
And then, Leann, as a producer, what did you learn in the post-production process, since this is your first feature, that you're like, oh my gosh, this is stuff I would have told myself, you know, in the beginning if I would have known, being in the middle of it?
I wish I asked more money at the beginning.
You and every producer.
Yeah, but I'm still like asking for money, and actually we need money for. Okay, great news! We just signed with a distribution company called Gravitas Ventures. So, yeah. So there are a lot of fees. I don't know. For me, when I started producing the film, I just get the film made. That's all I want. So that's all my purpose then. So I didn't think about post or that. So now we need more money for delivery fee or some more insurance, and we got some. So asking for more now. If you guys have money, talk to me.
Yeah, you know, as for people making features, this is something that's really valuable. It's hard to do when you're making it because you're just trying to get the movie in the can. But if I was going to do it again, I would have us, you know, spend less money for production and save more for post and marketing. Marketing is big, and it's tough to do by yourself. But it's a testament to like screenings like this, festivals, that, you know, you have the opportunity to get your film out in an organic way. So we're very grateful for these opportunities.
Go like our page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, please.
Definitely. Talk about the film festival process. What did you guys learn? What was your experience with that? What are things that you took away in front of a, you know, first time in front of an audience type of situations as filmmakers?
The film festival experience has been awesome. We've played CineQuest, Newport Beach, and then we're having a film festival that we haven't officially got into it yet, but we have some other festival news. But for me, what was really amazing was that people, after our CineQuest screening, there was a girl who came out after the screening, and she was crying, and she said that was dealing with mental health issues for many, many years, and she felt that, you know, no one had expressed that like we had, and that was really moving. And, you know, that at the film festival circuits where you're going to get those audiences who really understand your film, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Great one-on-one feedback there. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. We're wrapping up, but I always kind of end on a golden nugget question. So we'll talk kind of writing, directing, producing. If people watching in the audience don't remember anything, what's kind of one thing you want to leave with them of like, I learned this and I want to give it to you, so when you can use it for when you work on your projects?
You know, I thought about this last night. I spent a few minutes thinking about this. What's the one thing? And I think it really is whatever a feature or a web series or TV thing you want to do, believe in it and love it 110%. Because you're going to be with it for 3 or 4 years, if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, you'll be with it for that long, do the festivals and do distribution. So you don't want to have a project that you think, oh, this sucks, you know, like a year into it. So really, before you put anything on film, really believe in what you are doing and like really love it, because it's going to stick with you. Yeah.
For me, I think just when you believe in the script, you want to create your own project, you just do it. Yeah, I just step by step, you'll get there. In 2014, I was like, I never thought I could make the film. I just, please, next year, my only goal is to make the film. And I thought I never would made it, you know, and I did. So, we did. So,
did.
step by step. Actor ego. No.
Well, on behalf of everyone, congratulations. It is a wonderful film. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.